Hello gamers! Alright, so Overwatch is to do away with sudden death in Season 2. Let's talk about it.
Let's break it down!
No.
So I'm sure you all have examples of playing your heart out in a competitive match only to end up in a sudden death where the outcome of the match is heavily influenced by the flip of a coin. Are you going to attack or are you going to defend? So I would argue that Overwatch is actually pretty balanced right now. I would even go as far as to argue that the maps are pretty balanced right now. Granted, I do think there's some truth to the notion that the attacking team may have a slight advantage on an escort map, and conversely, a defending team may have a slight advantage on an assault map. However, the problem arises in the mechanic of how sudden death is executed. So the issue is not really if an attacking team has an advantage or the defending team has an advantage on any map in particular. The issue is the way sudden death is executed, only having to get to the first checkpoint with the payload, or only having to capture objective A to be the deciding factor in a game that went to a tie or went to a sudden death situation. The way the maps are designed, teams are meant to get to the first checkpoint and are meant to capture objective A. Otherwise, the maps would be imbalanced. The majority of games should get to a hypothetical middle point of the game where there's some tension between both teams. Now, there are games where people are shut out from ever reaching the first objective or ever reaching the first checkpoint, but that's not the majority of games. The majority of games make it to that midway point, and thus, the majority of sudden death matches are not really adequate indicators of winning or losing the match. So the developers have actually addressed this issue, and in Season 2 of competitive Overwatch, there will actually be no sudden death system. Instead, ties. Ties will become a possibility in Overwatch. Now let's use chess as an example. Now some would argue that chess is a perfectly balanced game, and draws or stalemates happen in chess, and they're a good thing. In some cases, a player who is losing or has a losing position can sometimes manage a draw from that position, and they're moderately rewarded for doing so by getting half a point. Now others would argue that chess is not the best example for this because white may have a first move advantage. Now that's up for debate, but let's look at checkers. Checkers has been completely solved, so assuming perfect play on either side in a checkers match, the game will be a draw. What I'm trying to say here is that having draws speaks to the balance of the game, which is ultimately everyone's goal, I'm assuming. That and probably having fun might be another one, I don't know. So having the core of the game be balanced is a good platform upon which you can build your competitive gaming scene. And we'll have to see how this plays out. I think this is going to be a good thing. I think it will increase morale for people who are grinding through competitive or playing with their teams, and so when you do drop in skill ratings, it's because you lost, and it's not because of a coin flip situation. And also it might make the victories that much sweeter because you have to actually beat the other team. You're not going to get, it's not going to be decided in these sudden death situations. So we'll have to see how it plays out. Let me know what you guys think. In the meantime, this is Thomas, and I will see you guys next time.